Hi again, little bears. Today we're going to read the book Feathers for Lunch, and afterwards we're going to do a fun activity making our own flowers out of watercolors, markers, and coffee filters. So stay tuned after for a really fun activity. Without further ado, Feathers for Lunch. Story about this cat, and we'll see. Look at this cat. Uh-oh. Doors left open, just a crack. My cat is out and he won't come back. He's looking for lunch, something new. A spicy treat for today's menu. Here Slinks the cat. His food in a can is tame and mild. So he's gone out for something wild. He's snooping and sneaking. Those birds sure look good. If he could catch one, he'd eat it. He would. But when his bell jingles, birds call a loud warning. Big cat got out early this morning. But cats can't fly and they can't soar. And birds know what their wings are for. Oh, he's leaping. So he keeps prowling, hoping to munch. But all he catches are feathers for lunch. He did not catch a single bird, but look, on each page we saw a feather fall, and he's got a mouth full of them. All right, let's look at some of the birds that we saw when we went through the book. First up is the northern cardinal. Ooh, it eats seeds, insects, small fruits, and grains. Next up is a blue jay. Food, almost anything. Northern orioles. They eat insects, fruits, and seeds. Look at those pretty orange feathers. Oh, an American robin. This bird eats insects, earthworms, snails, grubs, berries, and seeds. Perhaps you've seen one pecking around in a yard looking for worms and insects. A red-winged blackbird. Insects, small fruits, seeds, grains, small aquatic life are on that bird's menu. Oh, a mourning dove. This bird eats seeds, grains, and fruits. Maybe you've heard a mourning dove call. They sound like hoo, 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 hoo. And they usually can be found in pairs, which means two birds. A ruby-throated hummingbird. This bird is very tiny and flies very, very fast. And that bird drinks flower nectar, tree sap, eats small insects and spiders. Interesting. And here's an American goldfinch. This bird eats thistle seeds, insects, and small fruits. Oh, a house sparrow. Here's another very common bird here in Brooklyn. And this bird can eat almost anything. And a house wren, who eats insects and spiders. And here are these two very large birds. One is a northern flicker, and it eats insects and berries. And here's a red-headed woodpecker. Look at that bright red head. And this bird eats insects, berries, sap, and acorn. And look, we can see that it is pecking on that tree. And that is the end of our book. It's a beautiful picture on the back. So if we open it up this way, we can see there's our cat friend again, thinking about, I'd like to have a bird for lunch. Thank you for reading with me. The next thing we're going to do is make some flowers of our own and also do a painting of this cat. So follow along. Ask an adult to help you gather some of the materials for us to make watercolor flowers and to do a watercolor painting of the cat featured in Feathers for Lunch. The items or materials you'll need are pipe cleaners, coffee filters, watercolor paints, a container or bowl with water, a paintbrush and a dropper or pipette, washable markers, and thick paper to do your painting on. Hi again. All right, shall we get to crafting? So today we are going to make a couple different things, and you can follow along and do any of the activities if you'd like to. The first, we are going to make some flowers using coffee filters. So this is a basket coffee filter, and we're going to use watercolor paints to add color to them, and then we can fold it up in a couple different ways to make a flower. So to start, we are going to get some coffee filters out here, get our dish of water. Mine's already a little purple because I started painting. A paintbrush and watercolor paints. So any watercolor paints you have at home are fine, and it works best to get it pretty wet, and I'll show you why. So I've got a very wet paintbrush. I'm going to use some of this blue right here, and then I'm going to add, and look at that, it goes all the way through and it starts to spread out. And this is a really fun way to experiment with mixing different colors and seeing what happens when your paints get a little bit wet. So go for it, and I'll check back in with you after you're done painting. What do you notice as you're painting on the coffee filters? What changes? Now I'm going to take the coffee filters apart. I ended up adding 2 together. Looks like they're ready to dry, so I'm going to set them over to dry now that they're super saturated. Let's take a look at what I've made so far. I used watercolor paints with a paintbrush. Now I'm going to draw with washable markers and drop water onto the coffee filter to experiment. What are you noticing? I tried a few different ways of getting my coffee filters wet and colorful. I used markers and dropped water from a pipette. I used markers and paint and brushed them with a paintbrush. I can't wait to see what you do. Hey parents, the next thing we're going to do is a bonus activity while we wait for the coffee filters to dry. If your child isn't interested, feel free to skip ahead until the end when we start folding and shaping the flowers. This activity is also a great thing for older siblings to do if you have any of those at home. Okay, so I put my flowers over on the side to dry because they are pretty wet and they're going to take a little bit of time to dry. So while they're drying, I have some that are already dried here so they get nice and crispy. But while my other ones are drying, I am going to try to paint this cat. So what do you notice about this cat? I notice that it's black and white and has yellow eyes. So I'm going to get my watercolors back out and I'm gonna find a thick piece of paper. I'm gonna try painting my cat and seeing what happens. The fun thing about this cat that I noticed is that the white here is a little bit painty. So just like, did you notice when you were using your tissue paper that when you got it wet, the color spreads out? It's very hard to make just a very particular fine line. This filter absorbs the water and spreads the paint out. So in the same way, I like that this technique is happening here with the cat. So I'm gonna try to make it. So let's see, my cat has, at the top, has 2 ears that look like triangles. So I'm going to try to make some triangle ears here on my paper. Remember, there's no wrong way to paint. So let's see. I'm gonna do the middle of a cat, up, 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 up. What do you think so far? All right. And now I need to connect. The cat has a round face. So now I'm gonna come all the way down. Ooh, all right, kitty. So here's the beginning of my cat. All right, look at that. My cat's face is done. Now, what are some other things you notice about this cat? I noticed that the cat has eyes, a little pink nose, and a bit of a gray or white streak on the face. I have to figure out how to do that next. I'm back. My painting is dry. All right, look at that. So now I've got a cat, and I'm gonna add a little bit of white for the nose of that cat.
What do you notice when you add white paint to the black painting? Does the color change? Is the paint spreading out? What else do you notice about your painting? Is it different than the artist's? Of course it is. All paintings are different.
All right, I added some gray, but again, I gotta let it dry. So perhaps while I'm waiting for that, I will add my yellow. This kitty has bright yellow eyes. So I don't want my paint to be too watery. I want it to be pretty dry. Got a lot of paint on my brush, and now I'm gonna make 2 circles. Let's see if I can do it. All right, let's look. Another option, which I could also do, is to cut out a circle out of construction paper and make my eyes using that. Okay, little kitty, we're getting really close. So far I have the white and I have yellow eyes. What should I do next? The nose. I think you're right.
This cat has a very pink nose. I'm going to mix some red and white paint on my paper to make it. I'm also going to use 3 sides to make a triangle. 1, 2, 3, and fill it in.
And then, oh, I'm gonna have to put those whiskers on there too. Thank you for the reminder. It is time for some whiskers. This kitty has 1, 2, 3 on this side, and 1, 2, 3, 4 on the other. 1, 2, 3. There you go. There's my cat. Okay, so your flowers are dry, and now it's time to put the pieces together. So we're going to use the coffee filter to make the petals, and you can use any ones that you want. I made 2 different kinds here. So this one, I used 2 coffee filters, and I pushed a pipe cleaner through the center, and then I scrunched it up to make petals that I wanted. Now, You could have a really long stem like I did. You could fold it and twist it to make a little leaf. It's up to you. Another really fun option would be to add beads along here if you wanted to. So there's one. All right, the second one, I took my coffee filter and I folded it in half. Now, I kept scrunching it, and the bottom, you can twist, 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 and again, you can scrunch it however you'd like. And this flower, you can just hold with your hand. Look, it could even sit on the table. Maybe I could put it in my hair. I could put it in the pocket of my jacket. It's up to you. You can add layers if you'd like to. This one, I'm going to poke a hole through it. And now I'm just going to scrunch it and fold it into a shape that I like. I might even twist it a little bit around. Kind of up to you. That's the really fun thing about these flowers. Then I'm going to twist my stem, twist, twist, twist. Have a little one. Ta-da! I can't wait to see what flowers you make. If you make some, please share pictures with us. All right, thanks. Oh, wait. Here's our kitty. And here's our flowers. Look, kitty could even wear one. Thank you again for joining today and reading Feathers for Lunch, plus making some really fun flowers. See you soon.
I love this book, Feathers for Lunch, because it's just a really neat book. I chose to wear a cat top because I love it so much. Hope you enjoy our book.